Hey, what's up, Roxstars? It's Rox coming to you today with a review for Real Housewives of Atlanta, Season 16, Episode 16. You guys, I cannot believe next week is the finale. I wasn't even really looking for the finale, and it's here already, you guys. That is definitely progress. I am not sick of the show at the end of the season, child. Y'all, somebody write it down. How y'all doing on today? Yeah, it was a busy weekend here. I got my hair done Friday. You wouldn't even have known it today, child. I ain't never sweat so much in my life. Well, I have, but I did sweat a lot this weekend, y'all. So if I look a little, y'all it's Monday morning, very early. I'm doing this before work. I got a lot of work to do today. So trying to get it done beforehand so that I can have my day free. How y'all doing today? Good. Y'all, stick around for the review. Let's get to it, shall we? I say I'm gonna take some time off, y'all. All the cashiers, they was like, somebody stole her truck. It's like you can hear it all throughout the store. This Rox coming to you today with a review for Love and Marriage Detroit, Love and Marriage Huntsville, our book 4, Real Housewives of Atlanta. Let's get to it, shall we? You guys, so the show opens with us seeing Shamia taking her girls to the doctor. Actually, she was only taking the baby to be checked by the doctor, Dr. Harmon to be exact. And that's because, you know, when she was out of town, when she came back home, she had strep throat. I was just like, girl, they gonna blame you for that one, honey. But yeah, she had strep throat, and she was worried that she got her baby sick. The baby's immune system is pretty compromised, so, you know, they try to make sure that they keep her free and clear of anything that could keep her sick. So, you know, take her to the doctor, and while the doctor is checking the baby, you know, she tells us that she still wants to give her husband what he wants, which is a son, you know. So she has problems holding the baby. They got the surrogate, but the surrogate actually had, I guess they did some IVF with the surrogate, and it didn't take. Now they kind of put the pause on everything until they kind of just figure out a few things. So that's that on that. The doctor tells her, you know, when she comes back in the room, tells her that the baby is fine. She did not get sick from, you know, Shamia this time. But of course, you know, everybody, I guess, can stand to be a little bit more careful around the baby. But I mean, it is just a fact of life. The baby has that system, so, you know, they have to be extra careful. All right, we see Phaedra. Okay, Phaedra shows us her boys. They big now. Y'all remember Mr. President and Mr. New Year's Eve? And if you guys remember the reason why I called them that, well, you know, Mr. President already had the name from Phaedra. But if you guys remember why I called the youngest Mr. New Year's Eve, you guys go on to leave that in the comments. I mean, that is an old name. Y'all probably don't remember. Anyway, Phaedra tells us that she is still in business as a lawyer. Of course, we know that, but she's also a mortician, you know, so she deals in death. She also tells us that she's become a certified Reiki healer. She became one, I think she said 6 years ago. I said, boy, you've been busy, Phaedra. Man of many hats. A jack of all trades, if you will. Anyway, she says that her and Apollo have a great co-parenting relationship, so, you know, there's no problems there. So everything is good. Okay, she's talking to the boys. Mr. New Year's Eve apparently is interested in fashion. He wants to be a designer when he grows up, and actually he's already started on it, you know, and Phaedra wants to make sure that she hones that. She said that she is building a legacy. She tells us that she has a showcase coming up for the boys. And there's going to be male models there and everything. And I was just like, what kind of fucking trickery is this? What do you mean you're having a showcase for what, your son's fashions? Is that what you're saying? Like, at first I thought that's what she meant, but then I was like, as she went on throughout the show and explained it more, I was just like, what? So, you know, this shit is already sounding like some thrown together bullshit. They was like, Phaedra, now if you're going to come back to the show, you need to have at least one event, okay? And that's what she came up with. Yeah, I thought we would have actually been better off sitting in a funeral or something. I'm like, child, what we seeing this boys? I mean, I'm sure. All right. Rocky love the kids. I'm trying to be supportive of the babies, but I just don't understand, you know? I just feel like Phaedra kind of threw something together and said it was going to be for the boys. Or is it already an established event that she's just going to add the boys to? That's probably more of what was going on here. But hey, whatever. Okay, she said she got a friend who has a store, and her and the friend are in business together on certain ventures, you know, and so they're really close, and that's where the showcase is going to be. They're going to give a whole shopping experience with faux furs and real furs, you know, chinchilla. And I was just like, and where did the boys fit in here, child? Like, you know, just bullshit. But it's okay, because if it's for the kids, Rocky love the kids. But Phaedra full of shit. Now, jumping over to Kelly. We see Kelly, and remember, this is now time for her to go to court. She's supposed to be finalizing her divorce that day, you know, so we see her walking into the courthouse. They tell us that the cameras were not allowed in the courthouse, obviously. And but when she comes out, it's real quiet. You know, everybody is just looking loud. I was just like, well, what happened? You know, they don't say anything till they get to the car. As soon as they get to the car, somebody was like, well, that was a shit show. And, you know, everybody agreed. I was like, well, I guess that didn't go the way that Kelly wanted to. And Kelly tells us that they went over the time. So the judge was just like, no, it's a continuance because you guys couldn't finish. Like, I told y'all to have the shit together when you get here, and they didn't have it all together. So, yeah, another continuance. She's still not divorced. Not only that, but they done took the damn man, the husband, to jail because he ain't paid on his child support. So I was like, yes, that definitely was a shit show. Did the husband not know that he was behind on his damn child support? I guess he didn't have no choice if he wanted to get the divorce or whatever, but child, a fucking mess, right? So afterwards, you know, Shamia comes by to check on her, and, you know, Shamia was actually at the courthouse with her too. But apparently she had left before, you know, everything was finalized. So, or before, you know, the judge said there was continuance. So she asked, you know, Kelly how she was doing, and Kelly was just like, you know, not good. I'm still not divorced. And Shamia was like, you still not? Nope. Didn't get divorced. The man then went to jail. You know, it was just a fucking disaster. While she's talking to Shamia, Angela calls to check up on her, seeing how she's doing, you know, and she tells Angela the same thing. And then she gets off the phone and, you know, Shamia's just like, oh, that's so sweet. She called to check up on you. What about Britt? Have you talked to her? Kelly was like, no, she hasn't talked to Britt, actually. You know, she's pretty disappointed that she haven't talked to her, and this is supposed to be her best friend. She been there for her friend. They showed clips of her, you know, supporting Britt when Kenya pulled the stunt at the salon. You know, Kelly was there for her and everything, and I mean, they brought her in like that, like these two was like this, you know, Ace Boone Coons or whatever. So now Kelly is just so disappointed in how Britt is treating her. We'll talk more about Britt later. Let's jump on over to Kelly's event that she had. Now, I was just like, now this damn Kelly show got a whole bunch of fucking events. Apparently, Kelly is known around Atlanta, I guess, from watching this show. Because why the hell is she a brand ambassador for Balmain? And why is she a brand ambassador for Williams-Sonoma? I mean, Williams-Sonoma maybe makes more sense. It's great that she's a brand ambassador. There's no hate. I'm just saying, like, how she became, like, these are real established names and shit. She really must be an influencer. For her to be able to get all these brands, we didn't know who the fuck Kelly was before this show came on. We the viewers, you know. So it was just like, oh, okay, Kelly, Williams-Sonoma. Had a big event up at the Williams-Sonoma. I'm assuming maybe the one at Perimeter Mall. Had the ladies out. Well, she has Drew, Angela, and Phaedra come. Okay, because she said that, you know, she wants to see if they can maybe expand their friendship, you know, from when they were on the trip. Maybe they can get even closer, you know. So she has them come. Angela actually brings Charles. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. Now, why is Charles there? Why would Charles go with Angela to a damn cooking event at Williams-Sonoma with, you know? So I was just like, oh, this is about to be about Charles. I can already tell. Like, after you watch Real Housewives, you already know how the moves go, right? So Charles is there, so I was like, okay, it's going to be some drama with Charles. What's this going to be? Now, before we get to that drama, you know, they asked Kelly again, where's your girl, Britt? Ain't that your best friend? And, you know, Kelly, she looks very disappointed. Yes, that is my best friend, you know. Drew has that look on her face like, oh, really? Yes, that is Kelly's best friend, but, you know, she's just focusing on herself right now. That's what's important, you know. Taking the high road, I suppose. I said, okay, so now I think Kelly is trying to begin the official icing out of Britt. Not that it's that hard, because don't nobody really like Britt anyway on the show, you know, the girls. But you could tell that If this season would have went on a little bit longer, Kelly would have probably tried to get the ladies all to very much turn on Britt, and they would have iced her out. This would have been the beginning. It's just that the season is fucking about to end, and then Britt blew the shit up. I think Britt did what she did because the writing was on the wall. You can see in this episode that they was coming for Britt. Okay, so that's why Britt was just like, fuck it, I'ma just act a damn fool on this show. That's exactly what Britt did on this show. I actually kind of smirked the whole time, but we'll get to that in a minute. But honey, Britt was just like, they don't like me any fucking way. That's why she was like, when a bitch try to shoot some shots at me, bitch, I'ma lay out the whole full clip. That Britt is fucking crazy. Okay, I don't know how that child slipped through the cracks and got on that show, but whoever was responsible for bringing Britt on, y'all need to have a conversation with that person. But back to the damn thing. So they gonna have a cooking competition, and Charles fancies himself as a cook as well. Isn't it interesting that they've decided to have Charles be a part of the cooking competition of all people? But you know what? Charles plays nice. Hey, he can cook. Okay, we're gonna do some waffles, little banana foster on top, you know, gourmet it up and see who does the best thing. So, you know, Charles is up there with Kelly, and Angela is sitting out in the audience. It's a big crowd of people around. You know, people are just standing and watching. So it's a lot of commotion. I'm imagining there's it's a public event also. So there's cameras, there's people and all of this, right? But even in public events, you still have security. Right, you have security to keep them away from the talent. You can't have people just walking up to the ladies while you're trying to film a show. Anything can happen, especially in this day and age. Motherfuckers is crazy. While they're sitting up there watching Kelly and Charles, this man comes up to Angela and was just like, "Hey, Angela, can I talk to you off camera?" And she was just like, "Oh, talk to me off camera. Why? Why? Who are you? Do I know you?" Yes, his name, I think he said, was Marcus. Okay, you don't know me, but your husband does. All right. And she was just like, oh, okay. Like, oh, you know, so she was like thrown off. You know, he kind of walks off, and, you know, Angela looks to the ladies and they was like, what's that about? And she was just like, I was like, these messy ass producers let that man through. There's no other reason why that man came up to Angela with them filming without letting somebody official letting the man through. I done told you guys all season that they was coming for that marriage. It's just, I think that Angela and Charles's marriage is strong enough to survive the shit so far. Okay. But it's clear that they let that man come through there because they want more drama with Angela. You know, Angela's playing the game. She's being on the show. She's providing this content or whatever. But, you know, like, I got so irritated. I was like, I hope the Roxstars remember me telling you that this was going to happen. So anyway, the competition is over. You know, Angela says she's just trying to keep it together because if Charles is anything like Mr., you know, I probably would have reacted the exact same way as Angela. As long as I knew that Mr. did not realize what was going on, I would have known that I would have had to have a conversation with him afterwards, but I would have tried to keep him from knowing what would have happened because we would have had a blow up there. Because don't do this shit, right? So anyway, afterwards, the competition is over, you know, and they declared a tie. Kelly is over closer talking to the ladies, and she's on the mic. And she's talking about, you know, the competition and who won and everything. And then the man actually goes up to Kelly on the mic and says, Angela, your husband is cheating on you. Okay. Now, he said it while it was so much commotion going on. Thank God Charles did not hear him, because it really probably would have been a scene there. And you already know that Charles has a hot button. That shit that happened at MSG, you know, it's just like they was really purposely trying to push his buttons to get a reaction out of him. And that's the shit that we don't like. That's the shit that I don't like about Real Housewives of Atlanta. Okay, or Real Housewives, the franchise, period, is the fact that it be gutter on certain things. This is bullshit. This is gutter. But Charles didn't hear. So when he did that, you know, all the rest of the ladies was like, oh, no, we're not doing that. We're not doing that, you know, and they kind of shut the man down. Security finally, where were they? They finally talked to him and escort him out, but he already did his job, you know. Angela is just like, she's like, I'm just reeling, but I'm also trying to keep it together because she did not need Charles to do nothing else there. But, you know, Angela was just like, yeah, she's going to have to talk to him. He don't play about no disrespect. I mean, most husbands, they not really fucking with disrespect. Like, that's blatant disrespect. Okay? Niggas ain't just trying to pop off for no reason. Like, if you're gonna have this man come up in here and say that, you know, your husband is cheating on you, he needed to get his ass. Let me not say that. That might get me flagged. He needed to get a little bit though, you guys. I'll blink that out. You guys will know what I'm saying. Kelly makes sure that Angela knows that she don't know who that man is, you know, she don't do disrespect either, so she would not do that to Charles. I don't think that Kelly had anything to do with that man being there, but it was, I think it's more the producers. I have a problem with the producers, but moving on. While they're at that event, we see Britt. Britt is at her house and she has invited Portia over. She's invited Portia and Cynthia over. So remember Phaedra told her that, you know, if you're going to have the ladies over, you better have some fucking wine and the charcuterie board ready, you know. So she was like, I can do that. I can get the charcuterie up, you know, and the wine and, you know, wine and dine these girls. So she has them over. Portia was, okay, ever since we've been to Grenada, honey, this is the best invite I've ever received. Okay, sarcastic note to it. We got Cynthia and Portia over there eating up her damn, you know, food and drinking up her drinks. And then we get started on why Kelly and Britt are upset with each other. So, you know, Britt tells her and Cynthia about the whole makeup team and how Kelly didn't want her to use her squad. Kelly was jealous because the team was styling Britt probably better than Kelly. This is according to Britt. And now Kelly, you know, in the one-on-one, she's talking to the producer. She's just like, it's weird for you to pull my whole team. You want everything that I have. Like, do you want to be me? So she felt like it was weird. And again, I told you guys last week, I'll say it again this week. All it was a fucking conversation. Okay? If you couldn't have a conversation with your best friend about her maybe possibly not realizing that she's taking advantage of a situation, and you just say, hey, listen, girl, like, maybe you need to try to find somebody because it's running into a problem or whatever, instead of now you mad at the girl when you offered the team to her. Like, why can't Kelly understand why Britt would feel away? Even if you don't like Britt. Like, you could see why this is a stupid, silly, childish fight. And then you fighting with Britt, who ain't got no goddamn sense. So now you fighting a childish fight with somebody that is Britt, you know? So it's like, you already know the shit is gonna go south. Real south. So now Britt is saying that there's some jealousy there, which there might be. Britt is a beautiful girl. She has a nice body, and she is very pretty. Kelly is a pretty girl as well. But, you know, Kelly don't look like Britt. I don't know if Kelly is jealous of Britt, though. I'm just more interested in the fact that how you guys supposed to be best friends, and then you guys sitting up here fighting and talking about each other to everybody else on the show. Like, no, you guys were not best friends. You guys told everybody y'all was best friends. You guys were acquaintances that were close enough, that knew enough about each other that you could say that you were best friends. But that shit backfired. But we're going to talk about that in a little bit, too. Now, of course, while they sitting there talking to Britt, somehow Britt gets Portia to understand that Shamia's still been talking about her behind her back. You know, Portia's just like, wait a minute, hold on, recently? Because you guys know that me and Shamia, we had a conversation and we settled everything. Okay? Well, that ain't what Britt said. Britt said, honey, she was talking to Shamia, and Shamia then showed her text messages. You know, text messages, you guys talking about, you know, what you've been through, dealing with your divorce attorney and all of that. So just to let you know, she is talking, and is that behavior becoming of a best friend? And I'm sitting there thinking, like, why is it so easy for everybody to turn on their best friend? Do you know that nobody can call me and tell me some shit that my best friend said about me, and I'm just going to automatically believe it? I'm not jumping to no conclusions. I will call my friend and have a conversation to find out exactly what was what. But you're not about to tear apart my friendship that I've had with somebody over some just he say, she say shit, and for me to just believe it. Just automatically. So that already should tell you that Portia and Shamia's friendship, to me, is built on some sort of shaky ground, you know, or sham. And the whole time that Cynthia's there sitting listening to this whole conversation as well, she's kind of got a smirk on her face because she knows the game, and she probably knows that Britt is sitting up there fucking lying. She kept that so generic, saying, oh yeah, she showed me text messages of you talking about, you know, you going through your divorce with your lawyer. We know that Portia's going through a fucking divorce with her lawyer, you know, so like what exactly was so damaging in that? Britt probably could have just guessed that Portia and Shamia were talking about her divorce through text message or something like that. You know, it's just, I'm just like, oh my God, Portia, why are you sitting here getting upset about this? So while they're sitting here talking, you know, the other event that Kelly had, they're all leaving that event. So Phaedra calls Portia. And she's just, child, she can't, I told you guys how these girls are. Like, whenever they got some tea or some shit, boy, they can't hardly stand themselves. They got to tell it, you know. So she was just like, girl, you know, Portia, girl, what you calling me for? You act like you got some tea to spill. Child, do I. So she tells them what happens, how the man came up to Angela, told him that, you know, he was cheating, and how he got on the microphone and said all of this. And, you know, they all was like, what? What did she say? Well, she was visibly shaken. Charles was cooking right in front of him. He just was oblivious. He did not hear anything. And again, thank God for small favors. So she tells them that the man was escorted out by security, right? And they are just like, oh, they cannot believe. Now, let's jump over to Phaedra's black club shopping affair. This is her event that she's having with a friend that has a store, remember? And it's going to be furs, real and fake. Right when she's getting ready for the event, Portia calls her and on FaceTime, and her voice sounds pretty down, and so I'm figuring that she's calling to say that she wasn't coming, but she actually tells Phaedra that she's not coming because her cousin Londi died. And I didn't know who Londi was. I didn't watch her show, Portia's show, but then I remembered who Londi was because I remembered seeing her on Real Housewives of Atlanta with Portia before, you know, the heavy-set, light-skinned pretty girl. She passed young. I think, was younger maybe than Portia, around the same age or something, but she ended up passing. They didn't say how. So, you know, prayers up for the family. But anyway, she said that, you know, it was a huge loss for the family. Of course, she was not going to be there, and Phaedra understood. But the event. So the people are going to be all dressed in black. And so she has the ladies come, you know, Kelly comes, Shamia comes, Angela comes, Cynthia comes. They all get there, you know, they make sure that they have security. Like, we got security, right? Because after that shit that happened with at Williams-Sonoma, well, yeah, if you have security, can they do their damn job? That's the second question. So because Shamia was not there, you know, Angela is telling Shamia what happened at the Williams-Sonoma event. And then, honey, Britt walks in that door, and child, when everybody turned around and see Britt knew she was looking good. She looked the best that I have ever seen that girl look on the show or even on social media, okay? She looked beautiful. She knew it. And you could tell she had mess and shit all over her face, all right? So she came in there with that smirk. Hey, ladies. Cutest bob, clothes, perfect, you know, hugs everybody. Hey, Kelly. And Kelly looks at her and just turns her head. I said, I know we not about to play this high school ass shit. Because, bitch, you heard me talk, and you really just sitting here ignoring me? I mean, it's silly. And we are grown, aren't we all? Kelly is still upset. You know, you didn't check on me and my girls, so she ain't talking to Britt. The ladies, of course, saw the exchange between Britt and Kelly, so I told you they like sharks, like vultures and shit, like a dead animal, a carcass on the ground. You know, they swarming. They can see that there's trouble with this friendship now. Angela was like, I was just in the middle of a story when you walked in, and Britt was just like, oh, we all got stories to tell around here. And Kelly was just like, great, can't wait for the story time. Of course, in the confessional, she's all laughing like, you know, the shit didn't have to go to this point. You know, if Kelly would have just talked to me and said something about it, I would have, you know, we would have gotten through it. And I was like, yes, all it was a conversation. That's all it had to be. Britt might have even gotten her feelings, but now all this is stupid. Again, because Britt is childish and crazy, she about to be fucking hell with these ladies. I believe at that moment, Britt knew she was not coming back for the next season. Now, the shift in confidence is weird, watching Britt like this, but it's funny to me because she's not the same Britt that we got at the beginning of the season. She's on something else totally different tonight, right? So, anyway, you know, so she's kind of smirking around. She's feeling herself. She already knows she about to just be lying and saying all kind of shit and getting everybody mad, you know. They all was just like, you know, Phaedra was like, I'm about to get started. And they were like, well, where's Portia? And Phaedra was like, I'm not going to tell you guys right now, but Portia's not here. And, you know, it's a long story. I'll tell you guys later. But let's get started. Kelly wanted to make sure that Angela knew that she ain't had nothing to do with that man that came to her event. And Angela was like, girl, that's okay. Don't worry about it. Because, listen, we got people that don't play about me or Charles. And we already had somebody find out who he is and went to his house. I was like, that's what the fuck I'm talking about. Because, nigga, we is not playing these games. Go to the damn house and get some information. So Angela said that they found out that he was paid by somebody. So they're trying to find out who that is. I don't know what is going on with Angela and Charles and all that over there. Somebody else was like, Roxanne, she might be trying to build a case to get a divorce. And I was just like, I mean, maybe, but it don't seem like it. So it's just like, girl, maybe she just like, we gonna give him a little something to give him some good, you know, TV or whatever. So I guess we'll hear more about that maybe at the reunion, because next episode we won't probably hear anything else about that. And then in the confessional, the producer was like, you know, you guys have ties to the mob? And Angela was like, no, we don't. Okay, I was like, no, they ain't got ties to the mob, but Dante and Marquavius, honey, they still do street work every fucking day. Anyways, Drew shows up and, you know, Phaedra already shut and locked the doors. You know, of course they did that on purpose, locking Drew out. I'm just like, why is it that we can't leave the doors open, but just have security at the door to do their job correctly in that way that Drew could have come in, but we'll still keep any wayward people out, you know? Oh, there's an idea. It's too easy. Drew is outside. I'd have took my ass home. Apparently, obviously, they told Drew she couldn't leave. So Drew is just outside. You know, motherfuckers bringing her something to eat and everything. And she's just like, oh, thank you. I was just like, Drew, you don't even realize when you being made a fool out of. Ain't nobody standing out in no fucking 90-degree weather waiting for Phaedra to decide to open up these damn doors. I would have fainted out there. I wouldn't have made it. Anyways, they have the fashion show. And the ladies all come, you know, the models all come out. I thought she said it was all men. But anyway, they have the boys come out, you know, and Mr. President is supposed to be Mr. New Year's Eve's manager or whatever. And, you know, they did fine. It was all very sweet and cute. They still talking about, you know, trying to figure out who paid the man to come and say that shit to Angela. Who didn't show up? Well, Britt didn't show up for Kelly. And that's what Kelly is mad about. Cynthia's watching and she was just like, honey, Kelly is like, wants to pop off like at any moment now. She's getting really upset. So next thing you know, Britt and Kelly get into an argument, you know, and Britt is still kind of laughing at Kelly, which is pissing Kelly off more. I know it's a bit difficult for you to address me, but I was with Portia and Cynthia. She's like, I don't have a problem addressing you. Okay, and she was just like, well, you being passive aggressive. And she was like, I'm not being passive. And she was like, well, you aggressive. And I've never seen you be passive. So Kelly was like, you know what, Britt, don't fucking play with me. Britt is yelling at her. They calling each other hoes and bitches and all of this. The ladies are all standing like, oh my goodness, well, who expected all of this? Britt tells Kelly that she's insecure. Kelly says how. Britt tells her how, you know, what the team said when they was in Nashville. When it was her idea to share the glam squad in the first place, okay? But Britt says that Kelly just wanted Britt as her little sidekick, not as an actual friend. It turns ugly real fast, you guys. Kelly says, you know what? You better ask your friend. You better ask your roommate. You better ask your pill-popping roommate. I was like, oh, damn, not the pill-popping roommate. And unless her damn dog is popping pills over there, we know who she talking about. I was like, damn, why you blasting your friend like that? That ought to let you know that these girls were not friends like that. Not best friends. They knew enough about each other that they could blast each other like this. You had an actual any level of love for any of your best friends, you wouldn't do this. So yeah, best friend, very, very, they use the friend term so loosely on these shows. So in response to the pill-popping roommate comment, Britt throws back at her, well, what about all those abortions you had while you was married? Kelly was like, excuse me, what abortions? I immediately looked at the time, was like, what time is it? When is this shit about to end? Because I don't feel like watching this stupid argument that I don't believe neither of the claims that either of the ladies are throwing back at each other. This is just really high school. And that was confirmed when Kelly told us that her tubes was tied. After she had her twins, she was like, I can't even have a baby. So it was clear that Britt was lying, but Britt didn't care because she wasn't trying to get people to believe her. She just wanted to cause a scene. And she succeeded. So, you know, Kelly is yelling, get me out of here. And she's telling her team she needs to go. I guess, you know, they were trying to keep her from leaving or whatever. The producers maybe from the show. I cracked up though when Kelly was just like, bitch, you could never. Bitch, you could never beat me. You could never beat me. And Britt looked at her and she was like, nobody wants to be you, you little hobbit. I love a good name. Strawberry Shortcake was cute. But baby, a little hobbit to Kelly, child, I cracked up. So, you know, everybody is telling Britt that she shouldn't have said that, which she should not have said. I mean, girl, you is in the public. Y'all all this, you causing a scene. But like I said, Britt didn't care. She already decided. She knew she was not coming back. So she was just like, I'm going to blow this shit up. But... so, you know, they're all like, you shouldn't be talking to this woman about her abortions and all that. And she was just like, well, she called me a pill popper. I said, no. You missed. She called your husband a pill popper. Your husband and your dog, child. So, you know, Kelly is upset. They wouldn't let Kelly leave, even though she kept on saying, get me out of here. You know, Phaedra goes and talks to her and it's just like, you know what? It's okay, Buttercup. It's going to be all right. You got on $10,000 boots. You know, just be happy. Don't even think about the shit that Britt said, okay? It's what it is. Don't even worry about it. And I was just like, yeah, girl, because y'all not friends anyway. It don't matter. Anyway, all this goes on. The show is over. They finally open the doors. Drew is finally able to come in, up here eating damn chicken from a police officer that gave it to the child anyway. Shamia did sit down with Britt to find out why she did all of that. She was just like, Phaedra told Cynthia and Portia about the whole makeup team, you know, and how I felt, you know, Kelly went and told them all of that stuff. And I can't be sitting supporting somebody that's hating on me with these fake friendships. That's when Phaedra tells them that Londi had passed. And then, of course, you know, Shamia didn't even know, which was cruel to me. You guys made that girl film that whole damn scene, all of that shit, knowing that she was close to Portia's family and that if she didn't know anything about him, nobody could have slipped her and let her know, hey, listen, Portia's not here because her cousin died, which is probably, you're probably close to that person. You probably would want to be there too. You know, instead they made that child sit through all of that bullshit and then told her at the end. That was cruel. But anyway, Phaedra ends it by saying that, you know, everybody, you never know when it's your last time and everybody needs to be friendly and oh, shut up. Because everybody on here loves mess. Girl, you jumped on that phone so fast to tell him about what happened with Angela. Talking about tell people you love them and I'm complete. Whatever. All right, you guys, that's it. Let me get on off of here. Going to get this edited and up to you and get to work. Make sure that you thumbs up the video, comment, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'm Roxanne. The channel is It's Rocks, and everything else I do will be in the bottom bar. All right. So I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day, and I plan on doing the same. Until next time, Roxstars. Bye.